In today's fight news, UFC Saudi Arabia is now official for June 22nd. Per UFC President Dana White, the main event is going to be middleweights Robert Whittaker and Khamzat Chimaev. For the co-main event, we have heavyweights Sergey Pavlovich taking on Alexander Volkov. Also at UFC Saudi Arabia, we have a welterweight matchup between Kelvin Gastelum and Daniel Rodriguez. Also on the June 22nd card, we have middleweights Sharam Magomedov taking on Ior Potieria. Lastly, we have a light heavyweight bout between Johnny Walker and Volkan Oezdemir. During media day for this weekend's UFC Atlantic City event, former middleweight champion Chris Weidman was asked if he can still compete at an elite level after his leg break, and this was his response. If you take one skill at a time, I don't think there's anyone in the UFC in any division that has the skills in the stand-up, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu that I have. When the former champ was asked if his upcoming fight against Bruno Silva will be his last, this was his response. I'm really going to be gauging if it's my last one or not on how I feel during this training camp. So probably two things. My motivation, like how excited I am to be training every single day. My pain, how much pain I have every single day. Is my body done? Can I still hold up? Can I still compete at the highest level of levels? On the heels of her UFC Atlantic City main event against Manon Fiorot, number 2 ranked Erin Blanchfield had this to say: "I'm number 2, she's number 3. The only 2 girls ahead of us are the girls that have been fighting for the title. So when I win Saturday, I feel like I'm definitely a lock for the title." Blanchfield's opponent, number 3 ranked Manon Fiorot, had this to say in regards to a possible title shot after a win this weekend: "I already deserve 2 times the title shot, but that's how life goes. Sometimes there's injuries and other things. That's the way it is. So, of course, I believe the next fight will be for the title." On a recent episode of his YouTube channel, former 2-division champion and UFC Hall of Famer Daniel Cormier had this to say in regards to a possible matchup between lightweight champion Islam Makhachev and number 3 ranked lightweight Dustin Poirier. "This is a no-lose situation for the UFC. Islam wants to fight. Book it right now. Makhachev versus Poirier. It will be a massive fight. It really will be the biggest fight that Islam Makhachev has ever had in terms of the box office." Lightweight fan favorite Drew Dober recently took to X to call out Paddy the Baddy Pimblett, stating, "I've always wanted a fight in London. I wonder if there's any Scousers interested in creating some beautiful violence for the fans." While speaking to MMA Mania, former lightweight king Charles Oliveira had this to say when asked on why he didn't sit out in hopes for a title shot: "I'm employed by Zuffa, so I need to accept what they bring to me. If I was to wait for the title, I would have fought only in the end of the year, and I don't like to wait too much to fight." While in a recent episode of the MMA Hour, former Bellator featherweight champion AJ McKee had this to say: "Stat-wise, who's doing better than me besides John Jones? Khabib? You can name legit 2 people in the world, we're talking the entire world, that have better stats than me. At this point in my life, I'm just worried about securing my family's wealth and my future family's wealth." When discussing a planned UFC London event, UFC President Dana White had this to say to MMA Uncensored: "I have an English heavyweight champion and lots of other European stars. 2 champs now out of England. We had these fights where it's like, we're going to do this where? No, we're going to England. So we're going to England. We've got some badass plans for England. It will be a numbered card pay-per-view, a great one." Speaking of his plans to put UFC interim heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall on the upcoming UFC London card, Dana White had this to say on UFC on TNT: "If you think right now it's March, who knows with John Jones and Stipe? Because of the injury, who knows when they'll fight. It's not right to let Tom sit. And if Tom wants to defend the title, we'll absolutely do it. Speaking of the interim champion Aspinall, he had this to say to MMA Fighting in regards to the former heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou. They were absolutely thunderous punches he got hit with. What he's going to do next is ultimately up to him. If I was in his position, I'd go where the money is. And as far as I'm aware, the money right now is in boxing. So that's what I'd do. Number 1 ranked bantamweight contender Merab the Machine Dvalishvili recently posted this funny skit on his YouTube channel mocking his run-in he had at UFC 299 with champion Sugar Sean O'Malley. Former light heavyweight champion Jamal Sweet Dreams Hill posted a screenshot of a conversation he was having with former middleweight king Israel Adesanya. The former light heavyweight champion also posted this on X. April 13th main event, the judge can just head home because trust, they won't be needed. Hashtag can't wait. In other fight news, former featherweight king Max Blessed Holloway posted this on his YouTube channel in regards to why he took the Justin Gaethje fight. I thought if Topuria was to beat Volk in any way, Volk gets a direct rematch. You wait in this sport, the sport goes by you, and goes by you quick. Former UFC middleweight champion Luke Rockhold will be taking on Joe Schilling at Karate Combat 45 in Dubai on April 20th. And lastly, we have the UFC announcing their return to Australia for UFC 305. The event will take place in Perth at the RAC Arena on August 17th.